I'm not hearing anybody.
Welcome to Men and Women Talk, the Mars Venus Show, with your host, Kinte and Shannon. This program hosts a weekly panel of men and women who discuss topics such as dating, the workplace, family, spirituality, cheating, and of course, sex. Monday nights at 6 p.m. Pacific, 9 p.m. Eastern. This show is simulcast live audio and video between the website indieradio.org and YouTube, which allows listeners all over the world to gather together to tackle challenging relationship issues. And now here is your host, Shannon and Kinte.
Hello and welcome to an all-new episode of Men and Women Talk, the Mars Venus Show. I am your host, Kinte, all the way from Los Angeles, California, and this is episode number 97. And I'm so happy to be here today with you. The weekend was great. Everything is straight, and I'm here with the one and only Shannon. How you doing, Shannon?
Hi, I'm back in Florida. That's all that matters.
Yeah, last week you was in, where were you at? Nebraska? Were you in?
Chaska, Minnesota.
Oh, there we go. I knew he was somewhere like that. Somewhere.
Don't do me like that. Nebraska's where I'm from, bruh.
And witness protection or something. And I want to, real quick, before we introduce our panel tonight, I want to let people know if you're watching the show live via YouTube, you can participate in the conversation as well. And the way you can do that is on the right side, in the top chat section, just go down to where it says say something. Let us know that you're here, and we will definitely shout you out. If you have a question to our panel, we will relay it to our panel as well. Let's see, who do we have in there? Of course, I see Shannon. She's in there kicking it. I see Mason Williams in there. I see Tatalicious in there. I see Finn, of course, is in there. I see, Sunshine, Lauren. Yeah, it has been a minute. I see Jen, who's my co-host on many other shows. And I feel like I'm Romper Room. Remember that show back in the day? And I have Miss Unknown, and I see Imani in there. So I see there's way more people that are actually checking it out. So I see a bunch of people are checking us out. So they're not in the chat room, so just let us know. Now it says, Jocelyn, can you hear us? Jocelyn? Uh-oh. So we were just fine just a minute ago. So we're having a technical issue. Let's see. Check the come in and log out and come back in. There we go. So
you have to type it at the same time.
Yeah, well, I gotta represent, right? So hopefully that'll, that's the old thing, logging out and coming back in. So yeah, so we'll see if that works, and then if that works, we'll be good. Okay. So before we get into introducing our panel for today, I want you to talk about last week. How was your trip to Minnesota?
It was emotionally draining. For those of you that do know me, just based on the podcast, I work in domestic violence. And everyone there, it was a training for work. Everyone there had some type of domestic violence background, sexual assault, rape, incest, something. They worked in some field related to any of those topics. So it was pretty heavy. Good material that was covered, but sometimes the advocate needs someone to advocate on his or her behalf. So it had some intense moments. The weather was sustaining. It wasn't terribly cold. The food, they fed us so good. I did not want to come home. But I mean, I go back in March, so we'll see. Okay. And no, I was not impressed. I've been to Mall of America. We did go for dinner one night, but I hate malls.
Really? So you're not a big time shopper, are you?
Amazon Prime is my boyfriend. I just prefer to get what I need and get out. I don't like to be in the malls at all, unless there's food. Then I'll go.
That sounded sexual.
What? What'd you say, Finn?
I said that sounded sexual. Get what you need and get out.
Yes.
I mean that too.
Jocelyn, can you hear us now? Technical difficulties. Check the gear at the top. All right. Also, who came into our chat room is we have Angie, who was on the show last week. So a big shout out to
Angie, sweet counselor face. I love her.
Oh yeah, you gotta love Angie. All right. So while we're getting Jocelyn squared away, we normally start off with the ladies, and then we get to the guys. So let's start off with the guys, and then hopefully we can get Jocelyn situated. So
yeah, 'cause she's an expert. I need her to be on the show.
I know, right? All right, so let's do this. Let's start off with Finn. How you doing, Finn?
I'm doing all right. How about yourself, Kinte?
Pretty good. And for those who don't know about you, Finn, I mean, I don't know why they listen to the show. They wouldn't know about you. Give us a little rundown on you.
Finn or Christian Wren, divorced, 45 years old. What else did I say? Have a radio station, like the radio station. I DJ as well. And then during my daytime job, I sit in the office all day and pretend to look busy.
You at that?
You got real good at that job, huh, Finn?
Very good. Very well. Very well.
All right. Okay. I can dig it. Let's see. Jocelyn, can you hear us? Okay, so she's still working it out. It's so funny. We were all talking to each other, and then I guess once the show started, something went shrewy with her. All right, so let's introduce our newcomer to the show. This brother is a filmmaker, and also he's in my writing group. It's Anthony Alston. How you doing, Anthony?
Peace. What's going on? What's going on with you?
Pretty good, man. I'm happy and glad that you are here. Tell me a little bit about yourself, man. I mean, I know I kind of gave a little bit of your credits out there.
A little bit. I mean, it's a lot to fit in this. It's such a small period of time, but yeah, I am a writer. I'm also a filmmaker. I also work in law enforcement. Very much a gun advocate. I love firearms and, prior military. Served in Iraq and all that good stuff like that. And I'd have to say probably more so just an open-minded individual. I've come across a lot of different things in the different places that I've lived and different people that I've encountered. Yeah, man, I've seen and experienced a lot. So I hope those experiences will allow me something to offer to this podcast.
All right, man. I'm looking forward to chopping it up with you tonight, man. It's going to be a good one. So, all right. So let's see. We got Jocelyn. Can you hear us?
Me.
Yes. Can you hear us?
You know what? I'm ditching the headphones. All of a sudden, it did not go right. Don't know why. So I'm ditching those. I can hear you through my computer just fine, as long as I'm clear for you guys to hear.
You sound wonderful and perfect. Yes. All right. So now we've interviewed you a couple of times, but never on this show. So give us a little background into who you are and what you do and all that good stuff.
Ooh, that's a background. I do filming in every aspect. I'm in front of the camera. I'm behind the camera. I also edit, as well as do a podcast that is based on fetish, because I blur a lot of lines between sex and fetish, as well as I'm a co-host with Rebecca Love, and she does Talking Dirty with Rebecca Love. Mine is Sick Addictions, shocker. And I got my hands in every pie I can possibly get them into.
Metaphorically speaking, I hope.
Oh no, you haven't been to one of my parties.
Look, me and Finn is coming, honey. Don't
Oh, you said,
Word.
both?
I have to confess though, I messed with your headphone set because now you got to lean forward more. So that was all on me.
You know, I got my nails done earlier. I'm like, oh my God, I have to be back to the house for the show. So I get my nails done as quick as I can and everything. And I rubbed my hands together. And the guy was like, could you do that again? Because I'm like, really? You're just going to call it out? And that was a guy doing my nails. It was awesome. Yeah,
You know, there's a one more portion of the show where you got to do jumping jacks. I don't know if Kente told you
Look
that.
here, girl. Look here. Don't take a time out.
So you got to do shoulder rotations.
You know, at some point, I feel like I should scoot. I gave you guys the really nice vanilla version of background. I feel like I made a mistake. I might have to move my computer over and show you where I cam and do stuff like that. Yes, I do camming as well. So, yeah, I love it.
That's why I wear my shirt all the way up here, because Fan is a pervert. You gotta keep your clothes.
Only on days that end in Y.
Yeah, every day, bro. You know.
Well, you're gonna probably get a couple of new customers tonight, so that's for sure. All right, so Shannon, I'm gonna leave it up to you to break down what the topic is for tonight and give us a little definition for those who need it.
Okay, great, because I'm so glad you didn't refer to the Urban Dictionary for the information, because I would have been so hurt. We were talking about alternative sex lifestyles, and pretty much anything on this podcast is open except for cheating and infidelity, because we're talking about honesty, communication, and consent in these alternative sex lifestyles, which cheating and infidelity are not those things. So we can talk about polygamy, polyandry. We can talk about swapping mates. We could be talking about adding intimate partners into your intimate space. We can talk about BDSM. We can talk about switching. We can talk about pretty much you name it, kink fetish. I mean, the conversation lends itself to so many different things, and it's anything that is different than the normal monogamous heterosexual relationship. So we can even talk about the LGBT community. We can talk about anything, but cheating and we can talk about cheating and infidelity, but that is not what this is about. So
yeah, I don't know if cheating
better than your Urban Dictionary definition.
I don't know. Well, the Urban Dictionary is
no. That was
like,
horrible, Kente. It said something about sex with a sheet or something.
No,
and I read it again.
What?
And I was like a mattress,
alternative.
Like it was alternative. Right. Like it was anything that was inanimate. And I was like, but wait, I got questions. I need to find out who wrote this definition because it's so stupid.
I think it has the
horrible, and that's your Bible. So that's why I called you. I was like, no, can't talk about this because I'm not subscribing.
All right, let me start off by asking Jocelyn a question. Okay.
Uh-oh.
All right, so there's a term that I've heard quite a bit.
God, I hope I know it.
Yeah, actually,
I'll help you.
It's called vanilla, right? When someone is vanilla, and can you explain what they mean by when they refer to a person as vanilla?
It's what society teaches you. It's what you learn in sex ed.
Yep.
Penis in vagina. Don't stick it in a mouth or a butt. Do it missionary. It's for procreation and, sometimes pleasure, but it's very straight across the board what, we all believe that grandma and grandpa did. That's vanilla. Don't add anything. Don't flip a bitch over and slap her ass. That's not you are outside of the vanilla cupcake realm. And I actually call Rebecca Love, my co-host, I call her a vanilla cupcake. And I call her that is because when I'm like, oh yeah, so I got him on his knees and I, put the gag in and I tied him up and then I bent him over and I put roses in his ass and he was now my rose vase, She was like, what the fuck is wrong with you? And I'm like, well, what would you have done with him? She's like, I would have sucked his dick. And I'm like, ooh. ooh. And that was it. Yeah, that was pretty much it. She goes, well, I'd fuck him, you know, and I'm like, hey, and, you know, I need some fucking sprinkles on my shit.
If that's sprinkles, man, I need to find out what.
I really have to move my computer. I swear to God.
So my question to everybody in the panel is, okay, when was it that you guys realized that you weren't vanilla? And like, what is the line? Like, where? I mean, like, how do you know you've crossed over from no vanilla and now what? You're chocolate now? Like, what? Like,
well, I've always been chocolate.
So, like, what? Like, how do you know that you're not vanilla? And when was it when you guys realized that you were no longer in the vanilla space?
I'm gonna go first.
I think I was go first because I answered the last one.
I gotta say, man, this is everything. This is gonna be very unorthodox, but I have to say that I probably figured out I was not vanilla, not knowing the terminology, of course, but probably when I was around 7.
Oh wow! Oh wow.
So yeah, I was exposed very early, and I mean, I was showing my first porno when I was 5, and so in that there were multiple partners. There were, it was just a lot of things going on. But I think I was aware of the sex, not necessarily the fundamentals or the mechanics of it completely, but I was aware of what it was at that age, and then seeing it in video, and then at 7, well, yeah, around 7 is when I started masturbating, and 7 was when I first performed and received oral sex. So yeah, I think that is probably not vanilla. I mean, as far as the function of what was going on was probably vanilla, but the age in which it was being conducted, I think I broke out of that mode pretty young. And then from that, yeah.
When I was 7, I was like boogers.
I was just saying Barbie doll. I'm like,
7 years old was the first time I snuck a girl out of my house.
Gee, I was like, I was like 13, I think, when.
Whoa! Wow!
Wow!
So,
okay, so what about you? You know, I don't know, Finn. Would you consider yourself in the vanilla camp, or are you out the vanilla camp?
I thought so until I heard some of the stuff that Jocelyn does, because ain't no rose bushes going on my ass. So,
this is my headboard.
Yeah, you want to be the rose that grew from the concrete?
No. I think for me though, it was a little more basic when I started watching porn and realized, okay, I like that. I want to try that. You know, and it was more stuff I wanted to do or had done than the opposite. You know, because there's a point in time where even me, like, oral sex was just definitely not my thing, particularly performing. You know, so once you get to a point where you're doing stuff like I said, the stuff you see, I think I definitely crossed that threshold then.
Okay.
I wasn't 7 though. I wasn't 7.
Yeah, Anthony got his beat on that one.
What I mean, if you think about it, what's vanilla now or vanilla then is different now, because I think people's palates are a lot more expanded than, like he mentioned, when I was in high school. Oral sex was not the thing. Well, as far as guys, I'm like, oh yeah, I'll never eat pussy, or I'll never do this, that, and the third. And then once you finally break into that, then I'm like, okay, now I'm no longer vanilla in that particular context. Now it's like everybody's eating ass. So, right. You know what I mean? So I think the context of what vanilla is or was has changed dramatically from one period of time to this one.
Definitely. I remember being made fun of because I got told on that I ate pussy, and all my male friends used to make fun of me about that. Don't take after him, he eat pussy, stuff like that.
Y'all gonna have me laughing and blushing all night. That's
awesome. So how did your friends find out that you ate pussy? Did you tell them?
That's a good question.
I don't even know if I want to tell the story, but I got.
This is the place to tell it.
I got drunk at a motorcycle club and performed on this girl on stage. Shit. A couple of my buddies went and told me about it.
Well, I mean, that's one way to do it. That's one way to break it to it.
See, my thing was,
Yes.
I was always an exhibitionist. So I'd be dead ass sober and jump up on a table and start dancing, take off my top, whatever. You know, it didn't bother me who was around. I didn't care who was watching. And that became huge when, you know, the boyfriend of 14 years wanted to go into a swing club, but he was shy. So it's like, oh no, I got this. I'll pull the attention from everybody. And then going into the adult industry in every aspect, it was exhibitionism. So good for you for being a public slut, Finn.
I
Thank
found
you.
that out
Thank you.
early too. The exhibitionist, that was one of the things that I found out early about myself because I was high school. Well, I lost my virginity in school.
In school, like in class?
Like it was during class hours. It wasn't in the class I was supposed to be attending, but it was in a classroom.
What kind of curriculum was that?
Say again?
I said, what kind of curriculum was that? Is it too late to sign up?
It was definitely physical education combined with a little bit of anatomy.
Health.
All produced. Well, it was a girl from my biology class, and it came from my literature. So I used my high school career to
Yeah. Ladies.
Yeah, I did. Yeah.
Who says he wasn't paying attention in school? Come on.
I mean, he was paying attention to something.
Oh, yeah.
Me.
Like nobody believed I was a virgin when I was.
Oh wow. You know, another thing too is, okay, at this point, when you meet a lady, or Jocelyn, when you meet a guy, and could you even date someone who is vanilla, or even, you know, a little vanilla, since you guys are way past that? Or, I mean, or do you have to have someone that's on your plane as far as thinking and all that good stuff?
I can definitely, I almost prefer somebody that is, I need a mental equal first off, because when I'm working, I don't want to come home and have to work as well. So, but my biggest thing is I'm sapiosexual, which means you got to turn my brain on. Otherwise, you got to have a big old fat fucking paycheck. One of those two bitches are going to turn my ass off. Otherwise, but with the check, because that's my job, I go into a character, and that's not the real me. You want to come to my house and hang out with me and all that. You've got to be a very normal, you got to know when to turn it on and when not to. You know, you walk up to me while I'm cooking dinner and decide that you're going to slap my ass and, you know, start, it's not going to fucking go well.
Oh, okay.
Really? That's shocking. That's shocking.
Yeah.
He might pop you with some grief.
I might. There's been an ex that I hit with a frying pan. So yeah.
I told you. I told you.
We don't need no Al Greens going on out here.
But I need an equal first, and then it goes from there, you know. So I haven't dated in almost 6 years because nobody can make it past the third date. As far as I'm concerned, I'm a Tom Likas follower. Does anybody know who he is?
Yes, yeah.
I got my boobs signed by him once. I actually met him, but sex by the third date. And
okay.
So otherwise, I'm wasting my fucking time because I need to know if this is worth.
Right.
And you may have it, but you don't know what to do with it, and that is too. And I can give instruction, but this isn't kindergarten. Come on, people. You know, somebody should have told him something. Isn't he like in his 30s? So yeah, that's. So I've got my.
We love you, Jocelyn. We love you.
Hold on, can we not skate past Shannon? And she didn't never answer the original question. She's sitting over there.
She's blushing. She said she's going to be smiling and blushing.
I'm glad. You know what, Anthony? Thank you. That's right.
Shannon has the floor. Okay, I'll be quiet.
So, look, when did you find out that you weren't vanilla?
Honestly, I've never felt vanilla. I've always felt different. But I am the polar opposite. I don't watch porn. I was never experimental with myself growing up. But I'd always had this ideal in my head. I was a reader. I read more books than I was supposed to. So my imagination has always run wild. I think it was probably maybe when I was a teenager, something just didn't sit right with me about what you're supposed to do. The conversation that Jocelyn lended herself to in the beginning about what society teaches you, that just didn't sound like enough. Something was missing. Like, okay, so he gets to bust a nut and that's it? Like, that's all? Like, that's so boring. Like, who's doing that? Like, I need more. And I would say, based on my current life, I am probably more Tahitian vanilla, gelato based, because I'm not practicing anything currently.
I was like, I need you to explain that because I don't know anything about these fancy highfalutin ice creams that you just mentioned right now.
That's by Clinton, and it's absolutely amazing. It's really pricey, but it's good. So yeah, because I always used to joke that I was vanilla, like in terms of my sexual experience, but in my mental capacity, oh yeah, I'm a person that goes to Baskin Robbins and puts every flavor in the bowl, and it's like, yes, it's gonna be great.
Ooh.
Hope you're not lactose intolerant.
Almond milk.
I am not. I am not lactose intolerant, even though Breyers does make a good lactose-free ice cream. Cheers to Breyers. I've tried them all.
Can you get someone to turn from their vanilla ways? Is that even something that you guys wanted?
Is the water wet?
Can you turn someone from being vanilla?
Yes. Is water wet?
Yes and no. I gotta say yes and no.
Mm-hmm.
They have to be willing.
Right, there we go. The willingness has to be there. Unfortunately, like my previous brother, I am also divorced, and in that relationship, I really didn't take into account the necessity of being sexually compatible. I knew my personal background. I knew where I come from, the things that I experienced, but I also was fully aware of our experiences not really meeting anywhere. And so it wasn't until after we were married and we were having a conversation, and I'm like, things that were freaky to her or just weren't to me, only because I had already done them, such as having sex in the kitchen with heels on. Unfortunately, because I was so fast and mannish, I was having sex in the kitchen like that in high school. You know what I mean? So by the time I'm 25, 26, 27, the things that I've experienced have been like, well, now this to me, again, I guess vanilla's relative. This is vanilla because this is like on an average type of thing. And her threshold within her sexuality was not as wide as mine was. And so that caused a bit of a rift because I am a very highly sexual person, and we just bumped heads in a lot of areas. But it was also some other things that conflicted, spiritual backgrounds, feminism, just a lot of things that's kind of dampen that particular area of our lives.
Wouldn't you take that opportunity because you were so advanced on so many things, and which is very unique because you started so young, but wouldn't you take advantage of that and re-explore each and everything that you had rushed through already? You could start over and live through someone else's eyes. I love to have people that are fascinated by a kink or a fetish, or they've never done anything. I believe it's easier to ask for forgiveness than permission, number one, because they think, oh yeah, I'm part dude. Don't even try. No, I was raised by my brother and his friend. Mm-hmm. But I would like warm somebody up. I've got their trust. I've got it from them, and I can start, like, oh, look, there's a little bit of rope here, or, something like that. Like, I'm going to use a dish towel and I'm going to tie up your hands, or something like that, and make it fun, make it at that moment. They don't need to know, oh, you've only done it to this point. Shit, I did that by the time I was 15. I mean, seriously, I was sticking my fingers in guys' butts giving him a blowjob when I was 15. The first kinky thing I ever did. Yeah, I just was like, let's see what he'll do. I'm going to ask for forgiveness, not permission. Guess what? Motherfucker liked it. And now I've got an ass fetish. So I love sticking things in butts. And it's all.
So
I'm actually blushing.
Right.
See that? He just popped in like, what?
I'm actually blushing. No, I wanted to add real quick though, about the whole turning someone, or is that the only thing for me is not only they have to be receptive, but they have to enjoy it. I don't take any pleasure. If you try something and it's obvious you're not into it, then I'm not gonna, take any pleasure from it. When I was married, the first probably 3 years of our marriage, I didn't receive oral because it wasn't her thing, and it was very obvious that she was doing it for me, and I got no pleasure from it. So I think besides the ability, besides being willing to try it, they have to actually enjoy it. Or for me, it's a done deal.
Well, if you're going to serve up something on the table, like in the kitchen, or even a blowjob or something like that, you can play with something and still read the person's body language. You should anyway. You should be reading your partner's body language. I don't care if it's a one night stand or if you've been with the person for 10 years. Read their body language and what they're into and what they're not, and it's constantly changing. So you should be paying attention. You notice that your girl wasn't into giving blowjobs. Okay, that's no problem. And you move on to something else.
Oh, yeah, I get that. I just was responding to the actual question of getting them to try things. And for me, like I said, it's not just them being willing to try it. They got to try it and enjoy it. Because, there's a lot of things people try that they don't like,
Because I've introduced things and I have...
Obviously.
Ooh,
you got some guy walking around here being a human vase. So,
yeah.
I know it. I've only done that twice. It's a very special thing.
I want to
oh my!
Once again take a moment to give a shout out to the chat room. We have classy lady that's joined us. Mason Williams is in the chat room, and also Client Chaos. Mason Williams says absolutely.
That's silent chaos, by the way.
Oh, what did I say? Client. We're gonna act like
but before I forget too, I want to wish Miss Unknown a happy birthday. She just turned 22 again. So happy birthday, Miss Unknown.
We're gonna edit the part my ignorance out later, but no. Mason Williams says absolutely you can give someone a new fetish, but they have to be receptive. That's kind of like what we've been saying. And let's see. And then he says really does actually. He really does actual vanilla a disservice. Actual vanilla is an amazing complex flavor.
So, it is. That's why I said Tahitian vanilla bean, because that bottle is bomb.com.
It is the basis to every flavor out there, as far as I'm concerned.
Facts.
You take vanilla and you can put chocolate on it. You can put strawberries on it. You can put raspberries on it. You can do all kinds of stuff.
You can put the ice cream on the people. You ain't even got to add nothing else to it.
Yo, factuals, cherries and whipped cream and all that good, you know what I mean? But yeah.
Yeah, you keep any sugary products away from my puss.
But there is something that I've been trying to find that I can't.
We got to go to the doctor, and that shit is not fun.
There was
True that.
It's a honey. I don't know what store I got it from, and I can't seem to find it again. But it had like a honeycomb wand.
Not remember it.
Yo, I promise. Like this years in the making. I've been struggling I've been going to malls and going like everywhere trying to find it. But it's not a It's not a food product. However, it is like you won't get sick if you ingest it. But it's also a massage type oil, but it's also can be used as a lubricant. And I'm like, again, I can't find that shit anywhere. Like I have no idea. I can't even put in keywords to find something remotely close to it. When I do find it, whoever's with me at the time is going to have a wonderful.
And if he's not with somebody at that time, he's going to be calling everybody.
We just want to be flies on the wall. We're going to be in there like.
I mean, I got cameras. You don't have to be a fly on the wall. I got cameras.
I'll watch.
Hilarious.
Yes.
Okay. So, I wonder though, when you guys first started to experiment with different things, was I can only imagine it was maybe possibly a little well, I don't know, maybe not with Jocelyn and Anthony, but
the little
y'all
expert.
started so young. But I mean, was there a lot of worry about what people would think of you? Probably not Anthony. He was so young, man. I mean, what with the other kindergartners, or what?
Well, I mean, you still had neighborhood kids, so I had to worry about that because again, we're not supposed to be doing this. Is completely forbidden, especially at the age I began. So I got to worry about somebody knowing and somebody telling somebody's parents. Because truth be told, a couple hours later, after I snuck the girl out my house, one of my friends, you know, we little, everybody's your friend, went and told, like, knocked on the door. I'm like, oh, she's down there in his apartment. When she came, the mother came down, and I was by myself, and I was, no, she never been here. And I don't even know why I was such a good storyteller at 7. Meant that, but I mean, I was sheltered, so I think that was I guess a result of me being sheltered the way that I was. I explored a lot better.
You were sheltered, so was it religion? Because of religion that you were sheltered?
Yeah, partially it was. Yeah.
See, because I was the same way. And here's my thing: the first time I kissed a boy, I fucked him.
Oh.
I wasn't allowed to learn how to crawl and then walk and then run. I didn't have time for that shit. My mom was on her fucking way. God only knows, literally, when I was going to be let out of the house again, because everything was church. Everything, she wouldn't let me grow as an individual. So literally, I hit the ground running, and I never stopped. I just never stopped. I was like, oh, this is how it's supposed to be.
I'm blowing you a kiss right now.
What'd you say, Finn?
I said I'm blowing you a kiss right now.
Love connection.
That's how it happened with me. And I was raised Seventh-day Adventist. So yes, I'm branch Christian.
Yeah.
Wow. You know, so imagine your summers. Now just go ahead and riddle me this. So imagine your summers. We went to church on Saturday, Sabbath day. Sunday, sundown, to Saturday, sundown. Exactly when am I supposed to go and see my friends and stuff?
Right.
The next day is school. Yeah. So my whole weekend was gone. So when I had this much of an opportunity, oh yeah, I was like a fucking bullet. Gone.
Yeah, and I was just always curious. Like I
will say that when getting, I didn't know those things came in different sizes. I had no idea.
You are cracking me up today.
No. So I end up, when people tell you the horror stories about losing your virginity and stuff like that, oh man, have I got one. Because, I went from 0 to 100. And then
real quick,
all of a sudden, I was hurting. Damn it. I was hurting. I was hurt. Let's put it this way. I should have gotten stitches. That's how bad I was. I got it and was like, what the fuck is going on down there? I didn't hear stories like that. So then I found out, oh, there's another size. They came in sizes. I had no idea. So now I'm fascinated because every time I look at a boy and I think he's cute, I want to see what size he is. So that's how my child brain was working. I ended up running across dude again that took my virginity. How he did not know, I will never know. But the second time I ran into him, I measured him and he had a 10-inch dick.
Man, are we doing show and tell today? Because
show
you did not take the virginity of a girl. I was like, what the fuck? So now I'm known on film for being able to take some of the biggest dicks, and I'm like, oh yeah, I got this.
Oh my gosh!
Pop a couple of aspirin, keeps the swelling down. Let's go.
I'll be Googling later on tonight before I go to bed.
Then you got to do your research before the show. You got to do your research before the show.
No, this will be my nightcap. If you understand what I'm saying.
Well, then let's keep it quiet. We won't tell them about my ass.
Oh, Lord.
Well,
Oh,
let me get out.
Okay. I might start early. If I start snoring, it's not my fault.
Get out this.
Most people who are vanilla or who have no idea about another way of having sex or whatever, they get all of their understanding from movies and whatnot. What's that movie, that series that everybody talks about?
Well, 50 Shades of Grey.
50 Shades of Grey or Second.
In that movie.
Right. So
Ever.
what are some misconceptions about that kind of lifestyle that maybe people got from movies and stuff, things that you hear from people who don't participate?
That it's about hitting. And that was the very thing that Mr. Gray. Number one, let's go ahead and just break down the first one super, super quick. Number one, he was a fucking stalker. He followed her around. That is the biggest no-no ever. And then when he introduced her to this room, there was, he wanted to beat the shit out of her. It was all about his satisfaction and him being violent about it. I like to fuck hard, and all this stuff.
He was a sociopath. That's what he was.
Yeah, it's wrong. He is a sexual predator that had money, and money is what she liked.
Yeah.
So turned her into a whore. And God forbid that I ever speak bad about whores, because I love them.
Me too.
For the ecosystem.
But he turned her into one, and he just is, not cool. Not cool on a lot of levels.
Whores are great for the community.
Huh?
I said whores are great for the community.
Yeah, the ecosystem, they keep everything in balance. Yeah. Okay, so from a guy's perspective, what are some misconceptions that you run across?
I don't know, Finn, you want to go ahead first?
No. Go ahead, my brother. You good? I'm taking this all in.
Okay. Pause.
Peter, you are doing something over there.
No, not at all.
Quiet.
No, I'm here. I'm listening. I promise you guys. For once, I'm almost speechless. Usually, I'm the one that's kind of raunchy, but I think I might be vanilla compared to you guys.
Me too. Look, I'm not even vanilla. I'm just a beam trying to get myself together. Like, I
think I'm opaque or
transparent.
Going
to this explanation, let me give a shout out to my unicorn out there. So she don't hate me. So shout out to my unicorn. Say, I do have a unicorn.
What's your unicorn's name, slut boy?
I don't know what she logged in as in the chat, but I'ma just
Does it start with a T?
She gotta tell me. I don't know.
What is she texting you?
Oh no, her real name. Does it start with a T?
Oh no, it doesn't. It starts with an L.
Oh, you missing out then.
Because the one that starts.
Oh, wait a minute. Hold on. I know what you.
I'm trying to connect. I'm trying to make a love connection.
Are you really? Oh my God.
I am.
Well,
They don't even know
the
yet.
unicorn.
That's why I asked them to be on the show. I'm trying to connect them.
Right. But
it's madness.
The unicorn, my homie Reese, she on there shouting you out.
Hey, homie.
I think misconceptions that I've come across is that you can put a blanket over anybody, like a blanket ideology, blanket statement, blanket thoughts. Like everybody is not the same, and that's women and men alike. So what you can't necessarily bring what you were doing with the last guy to the next guy, because I might not like that. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, okay, let's just take some simple oral sex. Some guys like theatrics and the sounds, and it looks amazing, but as far as the actual sensation is not really doing much for me. So I need you to focus on what's happening right here and stop trying to put a show on and just let me enjoy what's happening right now. I think you don't have to be a porn star in order to fuck like one. I think that's also misconception.
You're doing what you like,
right? If you are into it and you like it, you know what I mean, then it's going to be awesome. As far as, and back to Jocelyn's point, yeah, the whole 50 Shades of Grey, I think so many people were way more vanilla than they
Realize.
realized. And to have read the book and to watch the movie, their worlds are expanded way too fast. And I'm like, yeah, it's not about the beating people and things. Honestly, to me, it's way much more about trust. How much do you trust your partner?
Yeah.
How much are you willing to relinquish this experience, your body? I am now trusting you with the safety of my body, of my health, of my mind. I'm trusting that you won't completely fucking murder me. and
that can happen, and it has happened. Google it.
Right.
Yeah, I'm from Detroit. If a chick ties you up, she might be trying to rob you. So you gotta be careful.
You said that 2 podcasts ago. We're not robbing nobody in this episode.
You never know. I gotta get that out there.
Wait a minute. Jocelyn might rob you of your soul. Let me take that back.
Well, hey man,
that's a welcome.
Soul snatching is perfectly welcome.
Yeah, they're asking. They asking for their soul to be snatched.
Yeah, soul snatching is necessary.
It's totally.
She might snatch your booty hole too, so she already got a fetish.
We already discussed that. No.
You know what's funny is I never do it to anybody unless they, number one, ask me, or number two, I'm just playing, and it's just like vanilla sex. You rub your hand over a girl's boobs or something, she's gonna either let you know, yeah, it's okay, or she's gonna move her arm, and now you are out of the way, and you can't touch that. Body language screams. So if I'm giving a guy a blowjob, or I'm, rubbing all lotion, buckets of lotion, and I slide a hand. I'm not saying I'm going to fist a guy in 3.5 seconds. That's not going to happen. We'll get there. We'll get there. Even Ben laughed at that one. But read them and have fun with it, and yeah, I only do dirty stuff to people if they either ask me or they let me, because I'm very vanilla. I love to make out in the back of a car. I'm one of the few girls during filming that, I'll tell you what, there was this one guy that I absolutely, he was my dream. I wanted to fuck this guy on film, and his name was Sledgehammer. And the heavens opened.
He was killed by the cops, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
He did. And we ended up becoming very, very good friends, which that devastated me when that happened. But when the heavens opened, and the moment that he walked in, and this is my stunt cock for the day, and I'm like, yes! Because I'm 5'3", but there's just too much for these little boys to take care of, right? They just can't handle it. My ass is too big. I'm just too big for them. So walks in and all this stuff. And I looked at him and I said, I'm gonna. Now, mind you, when I said this, I'm sitting on top of him, straddling him, I'm fucking him. And I look him dead in his eyes and I'm like, I'm going to kiss you, right? And he goes, why? It was the weirdest thing, because people aren't supposed to kiss in porn. As far as I'm concerned, if you're shoving your penis inside of me, I'm allowed to kiss you.
Kind of especially if it's raw penis.
Together.
If it's not raw penis, I think you can get away with not kissing. But if you're sticking your raw dick in there, I think all bets are off.
It was raw.
I just realized who you were talking about. I'm like, his name sounds familiar, so I had to do my little mini research. I know who that dude was. I had no idea. So my condolences.
Read the stories. Read the stories. And here's oh my God, I'm going to bring everybody down. He was my heavens opened literally when he walked in, and then I was lucky enough to become friends with him and everything. So you want to see some amazing footage, old movies and stuff. He used to work a lot with Shane Diesel, and they would tag girls and stuff. Oh yeah, those girls waddled out of that fucking place.
But they did.
And that's how you get the name Sledgehammer.
That'll do it. I mean, when she said that, I kind of had an idea.
You know what? Before I ask this other question, there was a story you told Jocelyn on our other show, and it was like there was, I think it was like a group scene, and they had yelled "cut." Can you just tell the people this is a good story?
Wait,
Oh, I'm here for it.
Okay, so it was a group scene. It was an orgy, right? Okay,
Right.
well, wait. Okay, so when you're filming, somebody calls and says, "Okay, they want you to do an orgy." Okay, no problem. How many pussies? How many dicks? Am I down for this? And I love orgies. You know, you get to sample 31 flavors. I mean, they're all in front of you. Just grab something and stick it in your mouth, stick it in your, whatever you got to do. Just get some. So it starts. They do their little scenario and everything. So it starts, and we're doing our thing. And I'm fucking. And if I didn't have something, I was looking pussy. There were things going on, and I knew that they had 2 cameras, so they wouldn't miss any action. They had 2 cameras. So I put a little bottle of water underneath a couch at one point. So I have this guy behind me during this filming and I'm like my head is under the couch and I'm getting water. I never stopped because it's an orgy. Nobody said cut or anything like that. So you keep fucking, right? You don't stop until you're told. That's your fucking job. So by the time I hear the director talking to this other guy, and they're like, look at Jocelyn. She's still in there. And I'm fucking 2 guys at this point, you know? And I'm like, what do you mean? What? And I turn around and I look, and I'm on the ground just like being mauled by 2 men. And I look over these other bitches, and I mean that with all my being. There was one girl that had already taken a shower.
Oh my gosh.
Had her luggage. Bitch was trying to leave, but she had to walk through the room where I was still fucking. I did not hear a bell go off. I didn't hear a lunch bell. I didn't hear a break bell. I didn't hear anything like that. Nobody told me, hey, you know, if you get tired and you break a sweat, you can stop. Nobody, evidently, they were all standing there laughing because I never stopped fucking, and it was 2 hours.
Get them, chick.
I just kept going. But evidently some of these guys were going over and taking a break, getting some water, you know, working it up again. I don't know, trying not to come. I don't know what they were doing over there. But then they would dive back in on the short, curvy fucking white chick, you know? And I'm like, hey. I was like, dick pushed it by the end. It was crazy. But once I can be very vanilla and very quiet and all of this stuff, believe it or not. And like I said, I like to have kids. I like to make out in the back of cars. I like to do things like that. I like to be, you know, high school naughty. But when I really get going, oh, it's on. I'll fuck everybody in the room.
Noted.
Well, about that.
Just the way I am.
I love it. I love it. Leah Carmichael checked into the room. Shout out to Leah, who came in.
There we go. That's the unicorn right there. That's the homie.
Hello,
hey, homie.
Oh, unicorn. All right.
Miss Unknown said the expressions on our faces are priceless. I know I do not have a poker face, so I'm trying to keep a smile. Like I'm like
my jaws dropped like 3 or 4 times. When Jocelyn was talking about something, I think she tried to do it, I was thinking I gotta have a safe word, and I think mine would be, "Bitch, are you crazy?"
That would be fine. I'd be
that's like a safe. That's like a safe, like 5 or 6 words. That's not. You gotta have 1 word.
Hey, I would say it so fast it would be 1 word.
Oh, so you music soul child. All your words just go together.
Right. I just want to sing.
Yeah.
Now, okay, so let me bring up another thing too is, because a lot of us in the chat room are vanilla. Some of us on the panel, well, I guess
I'm vanilla. Compared to Anthony and Jocelyn, I don't even have a flavor. They still trying to invent me.
All right, so hardware. Now I see you have some hardware in the back. So let's say you started to Google and dabble in some stuff. What's some things that you can play with? What's like a starter kit? Is there a starter kit?
Vibrating butt plug, nipple clamps, yeah.
Hardware.
Oh, no, that's not like starter. Hold on, you gotta now on the when you're going anal, you gotta build up. You can't just go in there with the it's almost like gauges in the ears. Yeah, a finger is a good starter actually. Like if you know you have somebody with you and
then you move to the tongue.
Or the tongue, yeah. But I think it might be almost customary for guys to try the finger, like finger or thumb, and just apply the pressure on there while you're just ever so gently to kind of see the reaction.
I did that too.
Yeah, so Jocelyn knows what I'm talking about. So
go to B. Can we just skip all that other vanilla stuff? Look, I'll pull some out. It's a party.
All right.
But then they have smaller plugs. They have stages in the plugs to where there's something very pinky finger size. There you go. Yep. They've got beads. You've got
Jocelyn.
Wow.
But wait, it's Halloween.
Oh shit.
Uh-oh. Yeah, check this out.
That.
Oh wow.
Oh, that's pretty. Jocelyn, is that blue?
Yeah.
I got blue.
My favorite color.
Oh, see?
Yeah, blue's mine too. That's how you put your butt plug in them, and you make sure you know where they're going. It's a tracker in that. Tracker.
There's one that has a foxtail on it. You can put a fox. There's one with a foxtail that you can use. Yeah.
Oh wow.
Foxtail, horsetail, puppy tail.
Yeah. All that type
I love puppies.
Yes.
I love puppies and kitties. So you can do all of that stuff. But honestly, if you've moved forward, like you want to get into something a little bit
those,
or you want to go for something that vibrates, then now I'm really freaking you guys out because I'm just reaching over.
No,
they're loving it. Trust me, honey.
Opening the treasure chest.
Right. Pandora's box.
But when it comes down to it, and cleanliness and stuff like that, number one, if you're going to play with a woman's ass, you stick with the ass, and do not transfer anything, your fingers included, into the pussy, because that is nasty ass shit. Literally shit. You do not want to put shit in a girl's pussy. It's
I got a question.
I
got a question for Jocelyn. I got a question for Jocelyn. So, as much of common sense as that is, I won't say I pride myself, but I call myself a porn connoisseur. And as much of a no-no as that is, you see that kind of often. Now, is that a thing to where scenes are cut? Because, well, for a small period of time, I also filmed porn. So, but I didn't get very far into the industry. I had some other stuff going on in life. I had to step back. But I'm like, is that we're going to cut the scene? Or sometimes I can tell the scene has not been cut. They're really just going from one place to the other, And I'm like, well, is there an enema performed beforehand? Like, what is the preparation?
That's the next thing. Okay, if you want to talk porn or vanilla at home, let's not call it vanilla. At home, if you're doing stuff like this, number one, you need to stretch it out. You need to get her or him used to having something put in there, so they know how to relax their body and everything. When it actually comes to putting toys in, putting more fingers in, stuff like that, then what you want to do is, I call it clearing the parking space. I don't want to use the whole fucking parking lot, okay? So I want you to go to the goddamn store, and I want you to get an enema, but I want you to dump that shit out. Just dump out. All you want is 99-cent store. It costs $1 for 2 of them. And oh no, that's douches. Douches is 2, enemas is 1. So for $1, you can get the applicator. You dump out the solution, and which promotes your body to go, and you put warm water, just warm water in it, and you clean out the parking spot. You squeeze it in and have it come out. Don't store it in there for an hour. You know what I mean? And with that, you are able to get in there and play and all that. So when it comes to porn, you're not just fiddling around for 10 minutes or whatever. You're looking at fucking for hours. And these women do not eat 24 hours prior. They actually fast and go in and still do the enemas. So it is so clean. It is stupid.
You can eat out of it.
What?
Yeah.
I said it's so clean you can eat out of it.
Yeah. Yeah. Exactly.
No, don't do that. She gonna be like that video that Kente posted talk about he died from E. coli. Don't do it.
But you want to know something real? I think if guys are being honest, if you really eat pussy, you've licked some ass.
Probably true.
Yeah, you've more than likely licked some ass than not. Cause
I would agree. I would agree.
Without even really, now that might not have been your center of concentration, but your tongue is going around there, especially if you're not just focusing on the clitoris, or if you're exploring a little bit, you definitely, because it's not really that far of a distance in between the two.
Absolutely. I've gotten distracted by the ass, given a blowjob and stuff. The distance isn't that far.
We need to have some after this.
I got a question too, Jocelyn, about the thing that I've seen a lot is the GIMP mask. What's the whole purpose of that? I never got that.
The fuckers hiding. They ain't got the balls to show their face, and that's on film. But they want to do this stuff. They want to be dirty, but they can't show their face because they're the principal of a high school. You know, I get it. But also in the lifestyle, you're dealing with breath play. It's very humiliating. People are looking at you, but they're not seeing you. You're just a thing. You don't have an identity.
You're a sex toy.
It's gone. It's a sex toy. It's a whooping post, you know?
Love it. Look, I need to come hang out with you.
You know, you can decorate them. I've had people pass their submissives and their slaves off to me and said, "Hey, if you feel like doing this to them," and I'm like, "Oh, fun," you know. But they know I'm going to take care of them, and they're not going to end up dead later or something. Maybe a butt plug in them, but. I actually had a friend lend me her slave. She went to do something else, and she's like, "Yeah, he's been talking about wanting to be fisted," and I'm like, "Oh, okay." By the end of the night, he drew a crowd, and I was fisting him.
Wow.
He got the bonus plan.
Okay, so what's your next event, Jocelyn? Because we got to go. I'm getting hot. I'm like, woo, child.
Oh my God.
It's so nice of them.
One-liners, I would like to point out. He's just got the real quick one-liners, and that's it. He is quiet as a mouse over there.
I'm trying to tell you, man. I thought I'd be able to add a lot to this, but I'm really feeling like out of my league. But it's okay. I'll bounce back.
I'm crushing right now. I'm like, man, I can't wait till the after hours. Y'all think the podcast the best part.
I know. Right? Have you ever, Justin? Have you ever used a vac bed? And I'll show for the audience who may not know what those are.
Are you Googling stuff, Kente?
Huh? No. I remember a long time ago we had this conversation, and they came up.
Oh shit! What the fuck is that?
Yeah, what is that?
I actually teased somebody in one time, and but I've never been in one.
That is such an interesting contraption, and probably gives some of the best pleasure, just because everything is so suctioned.
As long as you don't panic.
Yeah.
Because it adds pressure. It's not just sucking the air out. It actually adds pressure. And that's the key that most people don't think about. So that's the thing where people, you know, like I like the blue right there where her face is out and she can communicate. But when you actually have the straw one and you're like, yeah, I can calm myself and breathe through this until it feels like it's crushing you. That's something that usually isn't planned for, and they panic and they can't talk. So there's little triggers that I like to do. The breath play thing. I was in Jamaica. We were at Hedonism 2 doing a kink event, and and it's where we kind of descend and we take over the fetishy parts of, well, we create the fetishy part of the resort. And it's clothing optional except for during food. Anywhere there's food, you need to have your clothing on or at least covered. And I've seen vacuum beds used there, and we've done the big, it's almost like this helmet, and you blow the helmet up and it creates this pressure, and it is like sensory deprivation. You can't hear, you can't see, you can't smell. It's crazy. And we blew up a couple of people like that, and then casually led them around the swimming pool. So that was fun. They were in a body of water and they can't hear anything. It's really neat.
You know what it kind of looks like? I don't know if you guys Star Wars when they put Han Solo in the they put that's what it kind of looks like.
Something else, you do a little research on that probably was what they were taking it from.
His mouth was open too. I'm just saying.
What'd you say?
His mouth was open too. If you paid attention to that.
Oh yeah, he was right.
Yeah,
that's right. It was Okay, somebody brought up okay, sorry brother. Somebody brought up safe words. Talk about that for those who may not know. I mean, I guess they can kind of guess what the ideal is, but give an idea of what would make you somebody might use a safe word or something like that.
Like when they would use one, or like why they would use one?
Yeah, why and when.
Have you ever had somebody use one, Anthony?
Yes. We're doing role playing, and I had to really get into character. I had to really step outside of my natural self because it was something that I am vehemently against, but it was well, I mean, just to keep it with me, this is the podcast for it. We're doing rape play.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Yeah.
Okay.
So
that's okay.
It is very intense, and I really had to.
Consensual rape is something completely different than just rape, and everyone needs to understand the difference. Something that is agreed upon and the details are there. I want to lose control, but I trust you so much that in the next 48 hours, I know this is going to happen. And you both have to be in that mindset. Yeah.
Right. I mean, it took me some weeks to really build my mind up, because I'm like, that's not something that I would ever do.
Right.
And to really wrap my head around the type of person that I would have, the type of mindset I'd have to be in. So we discussed safe words and me having to, because it's like it's acting. And you think about somebody who is just a phenomenal actor, and once they get into character, they have to build themselves up in order to perform this role. And then after, let's see, Heath Ledger in The Joker. It took him a while for him to get himself out of who he is as a person into that particular intense and very dramatic character. So to me, doing the consensual rape, that is still, because that's the furthest thing from my wheelhouse in real life. But we had to get to the point where we trusted each other in order for her to trust me to be able to not take it too far, and for me to understand that this in this context is okay. So in that, it was definitely a necessity to have a safe word in place and to really build that level of trust, because again, I had to really, even afterwards, it was kind of, we had to have an AAR, after action review, or actually after action report. Like, okay, how do you feel? after,
Yeah, aftercare. You need to
yeah.
sit down
It's
and
important. It is so valuable.
Aftercare is huge. And the thing is I really like that you told that story and that you didn't, keep it to yourself and not talk about it, because role play, it sometimes the person being asked to do something, you really have to search your feelings,
Right.
you know? And that is talk about Star Wars. But you really have to figure out, am I able to do this? And saying no to her is okay.
Right.
It's okay. And it's a role play, and if it's not something you're into, like if you absolutely hate being called daddy or something like that, then you're not going to do a daddy stepdaughter type spanking scene.
Right.
It's not going to happen. So I had somebody call his safe word. I was trampling him
Oh, wow.
with spiked heels on. And he
Ooh.
loves to be trampled and all this stuff. So it was a wonderful thing, but it just got to the point where he was just like, okay, dude, uncle. And he had done it. And then afterwards, and of course, even with that, you don't just jump off of the person, because that could hurt them even more. You slow down and you step off, and you have to know where vital organs are, and all this stuff. So, but yeah, the heels were pretty intense. So what we did is we kind of came down a little bit, and I didn't cut it completely. I checked in, because he called his safe word. I checked in and then went, okay, what we're going to do is lose the shoes. And I have tiny feet. And, we did stuff from that point where I was standing on my toes on him, where it was more intense. So yeah.
That is clearly not Stanley. Who are you rubbing
So
now?
this is Brick. This is Brick.
Like, this is not Stanley.
Yeah, this is Brick. He's been drinking out of my cup. See, that's what he wants. He wants my cup. It's ridiculous. And it's not full enough for him to drink out of, so it's pissing him off because I keep taking it away from him. So now he wants to know where it's at. So animals. I'm animals. I'm the animal girl. Yeah.
Clearly.
Yeah.
Okay, so we've talked about a lot. We talked about safe words. We talked about hardware. We talked about getting your partner into it. Is there a point sometimes, I wonder with you guys, where if you ever felt like maybe you went a little too far, like or I mean, like, have you ever like go, I don't know, man, then maybe that might have been a little too much, or is it anything else?
Jocelyn and Anthony, because he's not talking to me or Finn.
That's terrible.
I always play within the realm of what's been discussed ahead of time. You don't just dive into something. And if you've got people calling safe words and shit like that, it's because a lot of this stuff was discussed and it was planned at some point. Like, I want to try this. Have you ever done that? I'm interested in this over here, whatever. So when you're in that, when I play with somebody, because I don't keep slaves, when I play with somebody, I have a checklist of these different things that I know that they like, and then I choose my favorites out of that. Will I push the envelope? Yes, I will. I won't beat somebody to blood with caning or a bully stick or something like that. I won't do that. But I have actually been there with someone who was beat like that, and I was the voice of reason talking to him as this was happening. And I'm like, this is something that you agreed to. You can call your safe word if you want to. I wasn't going to call it for him because I knew he had his wits about him to do so on his own. And, but I don't think I've ever pushed anybody to such an extent that I couldn't wipe away the tears or, the hurt that I caused. I always give time for aftercare, because once you break somebody down, you always want to bring them back up to a level. He's nodding. He knows. You have to bring somebody back up. You can't just humiliate and destroy somebody mentally or physically without bringing them back up and releasing them onto society after that. So
let me be the one to ask this question, because I'm sure I ain't the only one that's thinking this. But when you have your fist up someone's ass,
don't do it like this.
Like,
I would do it like this.
Okay. Oh, thank God. Yeah. But
that makes a difference, right?
Like it makes a huge difference.
Huge difference.
I mean, an asshole gets that wide, like, for real?
You can.
I mean, really? Yes.
Wow.
I watched a guy be double fisted, and his goal was to have the two girls shake hands inside.
Oh shit!
Oh my!
Oh wow!
Yeah, I just squinched. my seat is real uncomfortable right now.
Oh, geez.
Jocelyn, you said way too much.
There's no amount of aftercare for that.
Good night.
Soaking a vinegar bath. I don't know.
Please tell me those women were dwarfs.
Oh.
No, they were
little hands, maybe. No,
well, actually, the funny thing is it wasn't me. I have tiny hands, and the two girls that did it had the biggest hands of the whole group.
Oh wow!
Yeah.
Thank God for your tiny hands.
I have super tiny hands.
Okay, I mean it's still quite a bit, but at least you don't have big what's his name?
Big man hands.
Right.
You don't have none of these.
What's the guy from Infinity War? Oh my God, I can't think of the guy. Thanos, yeah, you ain't no Thanos hands going up in there.
Jesus snap!
Yeah, I'm good. No, thank you.
What was your question again? Like I forget the.
Yeah.
No, I was just like what I've been thinking like, okay, you have a fist up the ass. Like I was like,
Oh no, I mean previous to that, they was. I ain't talking about the ass fist.
Yeah, I'm sorry. No, I'm not going too far. Have you ever felt like you?
Okay, no.
I can tell you where I went too far, but the person that was hurt was me.
Oh. All right.
And I'm not a switch. I'm not submissive. I'm strictly dominant. Mm-hmm. So I got so into the scene, and you brought up fisting. So, okay, let's stay on that topic. So I have this guy and I'm playing with him, and I'm literally probably up to here. So about an inch or so past my actual wrist. So he's made it past my hand to my wrist, and now we're going up my arm, literally. And when you get that far, there's literally a curve. He's freaking out. Oh my God, I'm digging on Anthony right now. So
straight to bed.
So the thing is I have him leaned back, and then what I was doing is I'm not pushing, he's controlling. It's kind of like a guy fucking a girl from behind. If you let her back up,
right.
Let her build up the momentum. You know what I mean? Same concept. So I was literally letting him fuck my fist. And I got to the point where he weighs about 165 pounds, 170, and I have all of his weight coming down. And it got to the point, the way that it happened, I ended up cracking the bone in my elbow.
Oh,
how in the fuck?
How do you explain that?
Well,
oh my God.
I told my, I had more people that do sports and stuff. I'm like, yeah, I fucked up my elbow. I can't straighten my arm. Oh my God, I'm in so much pain. I was in excruciating pain.
Oh wow!
So you obviously didn't clean it off before you went in.
I didn't what? You're spinning. It's one-liners, and I'm.
So you obviously didn't clean the wrist off before you went in. That's what. So the doctor's like, "Why does it smell like shit in here?"
Oh, what's funny is the gloves. I've got gloves that go up to about here, latex gloves.
Yeah, I've seen the latex.
I actually use the latex that are mechanics gloves, and they go up a lot higher than doctor's gloves that go right here. So,
or use the ones that they use for horses and cows.
Oh,
no, I don't want armpit ones. No, I'm good.
So,
I'm just like, I need to come to y'all playhouses, playrooms, show.
well, I'll give you my too far, and it was this was me kind of cracking the portion of the threshold. So, and this is, I guess, in comparison or by comparison, it's relatively light. It was a golden shower, and it was yeah. So I was requested. There was we were in the middle of a session, and I wasn't gonna come no time soon. I already don't. I'm not fast in the first place, but if I have to pee, it'll never happen. So I'm like, yo, I gotta stop. I gotta go to the bathroom. I gotta take a break. So we laying there, and I'm like, I'm about to get up. I'm trying to catch my breath because we just going intense. And she's like, come on. And it didn't register at first. The first come on. I'm like, what? She's like, come on. Come on, what? So
the words, girl.
Yeah, I'm like, I need to, like, come on. And I was like, so now the third come on, it started to register. And I'm like, wait a minute. There's no way she talking about, nah, that's not possible. There's no way. So after a few minutes of me sitting there, and it was like I felt the window beginning to close. And so she was like, listen, you got two options. You can either go on by yourself or we can go together. So I'm like, I'm just gonna call your bluff. All right, let's go.
You gotta.
So we went into the bathroom and she laid in the bathtub.
Yep.
And it was one of the and I was like, yo, you serious? And so now I have this like massive hard on, and I still have to piss. And it's like having morning wood, and you got to adjust yourself so you can make it into the toilet. And it's just like,
and you got a whole bathtub, and you're having an issue.
Right. And so I'm like, now I was always taught as a child, you don't pee on people. But or spit, but you know, as an adult, all of those rules have completely gone out the window. Oh man, I'm sorry. I just thought about some disrespectful sex I had long ago. This wasn't disrespectful. We might get into that story. I might tell you. But anyway,
disrespectful.
Yeah, it was just disrespectful. And I say disrespectful because as a teenager, one of my favorite male porn stars was Wesley Pipes. That's where I learned a lot of my my shit talking from. He was just great. I just loved the commentary that he made. Was just absolutely wonderful. But anyways, going back to the story, she was like, okay, just not in my face. And I was just like, are you really serious? And it's like, I'm looking at the toilet, I'm looking at her. I was like, I have an option, but I was like, you know what? If I don't do this, I may never ever get this opportunity again.
Right. No, so they're very rare.
I was like,
very rare.
Well, fuck it. I'm gonna jump. And so I'm doing it, and she's just kind of laid back, and it's just like cascading on her chest and legs, and I'm just like, my fucking God, I can't believe I'm peeing on this woman. So, and again, we did the after action. You know, I mean, she got up, she showered because we still had a session to finish, and it was like, she was like, well, how do you feel? I was like, I don't know how I feel. I was like, I'm bothered because I'm feel like a creep, but I feel more like a creep because I'm slightly turned on. Like, I don't know.
It's different when they ask.
It is so much different. It's so much, because there's no way I could have introduced that myself. It had to be a request. And so, and I was like, man, I think I'm way more turned on, and I feel like maybe I should have a problem with that, but I don't really know. Like, this feels weird to me. But again, we were in a place to where we were comfortable with each other exploring different, you know.
You know what I love though? This is not the disrespectful sex story though.
No.
Oh no, that's not. No, it's not.
Got there yet, and I'm already grossed out. I'm like, I need to go shower.
But I had to ask her how she felt. It's like, okay, now you've never been peed on before. How did it feel to be peed on? This isn't your own urine. This is mine. And it's just like, do you feel satiated, you know, as far as that particular the thought that you had, or was it something that you wouldn't want to do it again, or do you feel she was like, yeah, I'm kind of turned on too, and I'm like, I don't. Well, let's go back and to the finish what we started. So yeah, it was interesting. That was I felt like I possibly gone too far, just because of you're not supposed to do that. And then there's the whole
tell you how far you did not go.
So I'm like I'm the light version of it. Like, you know, when you get some software and there's a light version and then you have the full serial. I'm the light and Jocelyn is the full serial code. You get the entire. So how far didn't I go? Please.
So there is you know, the whole water sports fetish,
Right.
and that's what this is. It's golden showers, that they call it water sports. So I was at this party, and it was in Vegas during AVN, and it was a hardcore fetish party where you literally had to be on the list in order to get in, and somebody had to like sponsor you.
Mm-hmm.
You know, and so if you fucked up, then I would be responsible for, you know, putting your name in the hat. So you know, they get these two boys, these women, and they're just stunning, flawless bodies, and they're wearing latex, and they're just unbelievable. And they're like, oh, yeah, we're going to go in the shower. These girls aren't washing down the latex. The only way they're going to get wet, would be the jacuzzi, and none of them are getting in that. So I'm like, ooh, what's in the shower? They lined up the water sports boys. And there was no bodies getting wet. It was all about the mouth. And yeah. And then afterwards, when all the girls were done, when the train was done,
oh wow,
and there was girl after girl after girl after girl after girl, and there were two of them. Then the last girl went in and turned on the water. And they cleaned up, and ta-da! Yeah.
Wow.
Did I wear a face mask?
And there were a shit ton of people watching, because this was also the party where I fisted the guy and we drew a crowd.
I was going to say, with your use of fist, I don't think you should say shit ton ever.
Don't do that. Don't ever do that.
Hilarious.
But also during these parties, you know, it's like that one. They brought in one of those girls that gets covered in sushi.
Oh yeah,
naked lady and all that stuff. So, you know, and then there was a couple of
no wasabi on the bottom parts, though.
It was so much fun. These parties were so much fun, and I'm actually going to a party like that in New York this coming Saturday.
I know that's gonna be fun.
Yeah, it's gonna be ridiculous.
See, people's mansion parties makes me nervous. I haven't found any down here to where I felt, because it's a lot of times it seems a little bit unorganized, and it seems just like a little far too open. It's not it seemed to be more, the ones that I've come across have been more about making a dollar than actually the party environment.
What area are you in?
Atlanta. I live in Atlanta.
Oh wow, yeah. Okay.
Welcome to you.
To be the what I don't know what the downer, but with all this group stuff you guys are doing, what about health? You know, diseases, and how do you make sure these people are all, you know, safe and clean?
Are you talking about my porn life or my fetish life?
I was talking about, like, he was talking about a mansion party and just stuff like that. It seems you guys seem to come across maybe outside of work for you.
Oh, I'm not fucking any of them. My clothes don't come off ever. I don't fuck anybody.
He's the dom.
Yeah, I haven't. If I go to a party, I bring sand to the beach. So when I went to Trapeze, the couple times that I've been, I brought sand to the beach. And so it's somebody I know.
Right.
We're comfortable with each other, and that way she doesn't feel, you know, like, because honestly, the people at Trapeze when I went, they were fucking vultures. I'm like, I don't understand why you would come here as a man by yourself, because you're not guaranteed anything. And I think I just
hoping.
Wait, what do you mean they're vultures?
I mean, they're swarming around like fucking sharks, pulling at their dicks in the towels, because there are different sections in trapeze. There's the I think they do a pretty decent job at screening people, because you have to do like fingerprints, and they run you. I don't know if it's like background check and stuff like that. So I think they check to see if you're a sex offender, number one. So you have to go through that process, the membership and everything. So there was that. Once you go inside, they have a restaurant portion where there's like a buffet, and I guess if you catch it on the right time, there's that. There's a dance floor with a couple stripper poles in the middle of the floor. They're like the VIP booths around the dance floor, and that's like section of the first official section inside of there. You go a little further back, and this is the changing area. Co-ed, you go in there, they have locker rooms, there's showers, and the showers are can be seen once you get back into the main event. I'll just call it the main event area. They have like this opaque glass that's kind of like wavy, so you can see the figures, but you can't see the actual like details of a person.
See, now that's a swing club, right?
That is a swingers club, yeah. Okay. And so, but they have. So I'm like, hey, I went with a long time, like friend of mine from high school, actually.
I heard it.
So real quick, getting on that. So what's the joy in, because you're not actually swinging, you're taking somebody that you, or at least you know, so you're not really swinging, right?
Well, you can. I mean, because I'm an exhibitionist. I'm also voyeuristic. Okay. You know what I mean? So,
I mean, we taking you home.
It's like porn. It's like
that's really what it
porn.
is. Yeah.
And then when you get a little bit bored, you go to the bar, and then you come back, and holy shit, there's another porn on, and it's live, and it's real, and it's fun. I've been to those. I get freaked out because of the vultures. Yeah, I get really freaked out. That's why I don't go to them. Now, the stuff that I go to, that I'm talking about, all these crazy things that are happening, that is me going to fetish parties. They're all fetish parties. So you find dungeons that do parties, or something on FetLife or Color Space or something like that, and definitely watch the people and see how it all breaks down, because there are some legit people and there's some that are not. I happen to become friends with some people that are really cool. They have events like I've been to Kink in the Caribbean 4 times. And it's in Jamaica at Hedonism 2. Well, we don't take over the whole resort. We take over a section, because we're beating people. We're not just fucking them. We're doing fire play. We're, blowing up, doing sensory deprivation. We're doing all these different things. So needle play, we did some of that too. But I mean, we've got our little group, and while we're there, you might see like the topless tours, and it's women that like to be topless, and they bring their men, stuff like that. So you never know what groups are going to be there. But I go to, and I know there's quite a few of them, but you have to read the details, because there's some of them where only the women are allowed to be dominant. The one I go to, the ones that I go to, it's a free for all. If you're dominant, then that's who you are, but it's also about the communication and stuff like that. And you never touch without asking. That's the same rule as a swing club. Yeah. And you never bark out an order at someone who you believe to be submissive. If they're not your sub or your slave, shut your fucking Bible and go get your own goddamn drink. It's that simple. This is not yours to claim.
Right.
So, and those are the types of parties that I go to.
Oh, wow.
So, and I know they have them in Atlanta. So,
I need to be with you, homie.
Homie.
Look at Shannon.
I love the dress code for men was like long as hell, and then the women just said, just club attire. It was
on what?
On I was looking at the trapeze, the rules and regulations and all that.
Oh yeah, it's like no athletic wear. You have to. It's almost like business casual for a man. You have to go in. But then once you go into the main event area, you have to go in you have to wear a towel. Women can wear their lingerie or bra and panties and heels and so on and so forth. What men have to be, and you got to be comfortable. You have to be secure in your sexuality, in your manhood, in your masculine, your manhood. All you have to be secure because
it might be cold in there. It might be cold in there.
Well, I mean, I'm not even saying that. You're seeing. So, all right. So, in this, the first time that we went and the double doors open up after we changed and everything like that. Double doors open up, and as soon as I look in, there is a oral train happening at the back wall. So there's guy, girl, guy, girl. There's a stripper pole. There is it's BYOB. So you can bring your own bottle of alcohol and they'll serve it to you. So I felt like that was pretty dope. Now, as far as, let me make a point to this. I appreciated the level of cleanliness from the staff in there because they were constantly, I forgot what the actual cleaning solution they used, but I asked them at the time. This has been years ago at this point. But they were constantly wiping the poles down, wiping the seats, and making sure there wasn't anything that was like porous. So it wasn't like porous couches or anything like that. You have to worry about absorbing anybody else's fluids or anything. So that was one thing that made me relax a little bit more because I just saw how well they maintained the cleanliness portion of it. Now, continuing. So my friend and I were in there, and it's kind of dull at that moment. So we decided to get it started. She gets down, starts performing oral sex on me. There's a couple sitting right next to me, and there's a guy masturbating like a foot away from my shoulder behind me.
Oh no, that's too close.
And I'm just like, somebody asked him to back up, but you have to. Those are things that you're going to see people beating if they like the show that you're putting on. You're gonna see men playing with themselves, women playing with themselves, or it might spark them to play with each other or whatever the fuck it happens. But you got to be secure in yourself for several reasons. One, to not have performance anxiety. Forget it being cold. You might just have equipment failure because now you have stage fright. There we go. That's the word I'm looking for. And it's like you've got all these eyes watching you, and the porn star that you thought you were, you just might not live up to that the expectation reality. So
that is well put, because there's a lot of people that go, oh, I can do that. I can do that. It's like, oh, you can do that with a guy standing, 6 inches away from your asshole and your balls as you're fucking somebody. You're cool with that, and he's got the sniffles and he's right behind you. You cool with that? I mean, because that shit happens on porn sets. Nobody thinks about what's happening behind what the actual screen is, camera is catching.
And so, I've been the camera operator on
down.
Yeah, like, and then saying that, having a different appreciation for the actors in the adult movies, because the effort that goes into actually filming and prepping for it, and even the relationships. I honestly want to film a documentary on adult film stars' personal relationships. The last movie that I filmed, the company was looking for a specific type of movie. They wanted Amazon, interracial Amazon cougar type. It was very so. But the actress, she brought her husband to set, and he's actually like her biggest supporter. And I'm like, it wasn't like a fabricated marriage. No, they were on the phone as I was waiting for the other actor to arrive, and they're talking to their children about homework and who's on punishment. And I'm like, you guys have a legit relationship. Now, you as a husband, you're not in the industry, but he's telling me stories how he's had to be her fluffer at different times, or he's had to come in and fill in. A guy with premature ejaculated, and he had to come in and help finish the scene, or she was just not into it. He had to take her around the corner, get her together, and so that she can go in and finish the scene for. And I'm like, man, this is your wife? Like, where do you have to be at mentally? That is a level of support like nothing I've ever seen in my life.
Now he had to be a fluffer to with her. She can just add lube. So he's blown some dick. He is sucking some dick.
I don't.
Sweetie, what he is a cuckold.
Wait, see, and that was the next thing I was supposed to film for them, but Again, like I said, I had some things happen in life to where I had to take a break and step back from it. But he wanted the bukkake. He is a cuckold because he sat there watching the whole thing. Huh?
He's a total cuckold. And see, I love cucks. I think they're a blast, and I love just humiliating them and making fun of them. It's like a game to me. But when it comes right down to it, I wouldn't want to be married to one, because then all I would be is a fuck bunny, you know.
Right.
And yeah, it's like he wants to get off and do things, whatever, and it's like, oh, so you need to fuck somebody because that's my fetish.
When Jocelyn was on the show last, on the Underground show, we played a clip from one of her films, because I do thorough research every time I have a guest on. So I found the scene where Jocelyn was the mother, and her kid was hanging out with the wrong crowd. So to teach him a lesson,
Oh, wow.
she had to screw the guy, the brother Shorty Mac.
Oh, that dude.
Shorty's fucking awesome.
Oh my god, that was hilarious. Yeah, that was.
These are like throwback stars. Now, let me put my disclaimer out there. Yeah, I grew up watching a lot of porn. I was like I had personal relationships with these people, knew their names and like, hey, so, oh yeah, no, she's not in the industry anymore because she went to go pursue this career opportunity. Like, I was very well studied, I'll put it that way. So I'm like,
There's a lot of people that are like that, and that'll come up and start talking like they know me, and I'm all.
Well, to be fair to them, though, you've been with them during the most intimate moments of their life.
Absolutely, yeah. But I don't know about it, and that's the part that they forget.
Right.
That's a part that they forget. So yeah, that can be cool. And it can suck at the same time.
I mean, it's not very much different than anybody that you've grown watching a sitcom or some drama television show when it's like, oh, you are this character. Now you are a real person. But to them, they only see the character. Like, what's the show Power, and the son on there, Tariq, and people, how much they loathe him. And in real life, like, I want to fight you in real life. I'm like, that's not me. This is my character. But you've grown so attached. The writing and the performing was just so top notch that you don't know how to separate the reality from the actual performance. So,
yeah. And that's like on the podcast, Rebecca and I are always saying she actually started it and I stole it from her. But she goes, Rebecca Love is my job. And it's true. All of the Instagram and the Snapchat and the filming and the photos and the camming and all that stuff, when we log on, we are that character. But when we log off and we're dealing with, my dog, I've got to take him to the dog park, or I have to cook dinner, or I have to do laundry. That's the other side of me. But when everybody sees me and I've got my ankles around my ears, they're like, you're always ready to go. And I'm like, it's not live. It's Memorex, you idiot.
Hilarious.
Man.
Oh. I'm always ready to go on that video. You're absolutely correct.
And then even in filming, because again, I had to film it, and they wanted they didn't want any cut scenes. And so in that particular right. So they just wanted
an editor.
And
bastard. I meant totally meant that.
He came for you. Yeah, they wanted a particular time frame, and the actor he came too fast. So it's like, this is an actual job. As fun as it sounds, and it appears like he had to wait and get himself prepared, go get a Red Bull or whatever it was that he needed in order to be able to go get right back at it, and now start the scene from beginning all the way to do it again, because they wanted just a continuous scene. And so I'm like, yeah, there's a lot of work and effort and production value, which I wanted to say, Jocelyn, I like your production value. I wanted to say that from the beginning of when we started, when we switched over.
You know who the fuck it was, and you're going to look me up tonight.
The thing about Jocelyn, and once again, we talked about it in the other interview, she's actually a really good actress too. she's I was pretty impressed. I was like, oh wow, it wasn't the hacky porn acting. It was like, oh, I could see her doing some.
And a secret about me, the industry is here recently getting to the point where I've wanted it. I've always dreamed of having, or filming a movie with good actors that was an adult content. I'm seeing a little bit more now. I think that some of the actors are a little, maybe getting a little bit better, or maybe, I don't know if it's them taking it more seriously, or they're doing more talk. So like I wanted the dialogue.
Yeah,
I wanted to be not, oh, I heard your washing machine is broken. I'm like, but I can't pay you. Now, I don't, that the 1970s, 80s or whatever. No, I wanted an actual, like, if you go watch, I don't know, Jason's Lyric, and it was an adult movie, or if you're watching Collateral, and in that scene they actually have the actual sex scenes, but it's in full-on adult scene. I wanted the equivalent acting of a box office movie, but still the better the production value of an adult movie. And I also wanted it to be, I wanted to look a lot better, the lighting to be better, to put the actual production value into it. Now I've seen some here recently and I don't know if it's just because of the 4K cameras, or and pardon my nerd for coming out, but I don't know if it's because of that, but I think some of the sets right. I think the sets are maybe a little bit better. The lighting is definitely better, because the type of lighting they're using, as far as between tungsten and they're paying more attention to the Kelvin temperature and all of those things like that. But yeah, that's one of the things that I wanted to do as a filmmaker, was to produce, or to actually film better quality adult films. But they've actually come a long way here recently. So
there's a lot of like cam models and stuff like that do custom videos, and there's so many ways to get videos done, and editing. People are actually paying attention to the editing and stuff. Like your friend that had to do the scene, and then because he popped too early, there's a couple of things he should have been able to back off, stop fucking, be in control of his dick, and done something else, lick a pussy, slap her ass, flip her over, whatever. Buy yourself 15 seconds and he would have been perfectly fine. I've had professionals do that stuff before, and it wasn't a problem. But the fact that somebody wanted to save money in editing, it's kind of a bummer. But it's like I've got a movie light on me right now.
How did you get your name, Jocelyn Stone?
My way to meet my very first agent. They go, "So what's your name going to be?" And I was listening to Joss Stone on the way there.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, I fell in love with her. The tall, soulful redhead that likes to wear no shoes when she performs. And yeah, son of a preacher man. Look that up. Joss Stone, son of a preacher man, on YouTube. It's unbelievable. She's an unbelievable singer. And yeah, so people started calling me Joss, like, "Hey, Joss," and I'm like, no, you cannot call me that. That is a real person. That is a singer. You can't call me Joss Stone, but Jocelyn, you can call me. So,
and one more thing, are you still recording?
Am I still filming?
Uh-huh.
Oh yeah, I just did a scene. I think it just came out. I did a few weeks ago. I think it just came out. Yeah.
Love you.
I'm still doing it, and I still do a lot of stuff. I have my own website, so I'm real picky about stuff. I have people come to me and say, "Oh, you retired, or why aren't you shooting anymore?" or something like that. And it's like, what are you talking about? All the stuff is going on my website. Just because you have to be a member to see it, because everybody's putting all my stuff up for free. I can't work for free. I can't do it. Nobody else does it, so I'm not going to do it. And they're like, oh, but I want. And I'm like, if you want it bad enough, you're going to go pay for it, motherfucker.
Right. You're right.
So that's where a lot of my true fans are, is they'll pay. Or, and it's really funny because I have like Snap Premium and I have my OnlyFans and I have my site and then the podcast. And I even do things because I'm known as either the mommy dom or the MILF. And I have these young guys following me. Either they're just getting into college or they graduated college and they're like, oh my God, it's you. And they get very excited. So what I do is I created something for the college students. I'm like, look, you listen to the podcast, you fucking learn something. Okay. You hear me tell dirty stories. You guys have learned all kinds of different things today, especially like cleaning out the parking spot. Now, every time you think of an enema, you're going to go warm water, clean out the parking spot. We have been educated. Okay. All about learning something every single day. And that's what we do on the podcast. So I tell these guys, go find one on the site. You go find one. You like the topic. And then I want you to go and do a review. You do a review, and you screenshot it and send it to me, and I will give you a surprise. Some of them have done so much stuff that, so I will help out those that can't pay. They don't have the money to be a member. I'll give them a free membership for a month, and of course, when I started, I'll drop them like 15 photos, like, okay, motherfucker, you better brace yourself for the rest of the month. So I take care of my fans. If they actually say, look, I'm a student, I can't afford it, I'm like, okay, here's your task. So I give them things to do.
Incentivize.
I don't get the pussy away for free. This fucker
I'm supposed to.
Which I'm glad that you brought that up, because I've noticed in the last, I don't know, 6 months to a year. Well, you brought up some of those things like the Snap Premium and Patreon and OnlyFans and all of these, what is it, like Camster and a couple other things like that. I wanted to ask you, I may already have my answer, but do you think these different avenues have assisted you in I guess your business, or you think it's a hindrance in any way?
It all depends if you're self-motivated.
Okay.
Because if you're a lazy bitch that just wants to get a phone call from your agent, go fuck, get your money, then no, it's a hindrance. And you're struggling and you're escorting for $200 an hour any hole because you're not smart enough to actually market yourself, and you're not going to go in and get a real job now, girl. It's not going to happen.
Yeah.
People have seen you. It will come out. So you need to figure out, how are you going to motivate yourself and kick up your brand to a level where it's going to make money if you're just being lazy. So I had to figure out different ways of doing it. I drugged my feet. I stomped my feet. I'm still a bitch about a lot of it. Pornhub, perfect example.
Oh yeah, you can get anything there.
Huh?
I said you can practically see any and everything. Whatever you want to see, it's on there.
Absolutely. Did you know that it is owned by some programmers that decided to squat on some URLs, and they started, because they're not filming, they're not breaking any laws. So they went and got some porn from these different places and then got the audience. It's like Goodwill,
Yeah.
donating me jerking my fucking dick because I think it's cool. Here, have it for free. Now, everybody tell me what you think. It's Goodwill. But did you know that the company name, go ahead and think about that for a second, but the company name is MindGeek. MindGeek owns Brazzers, Twisties, Mofos.
Oh.
Oh, yeah. Process those numbers, because what they do now, and if you know about like the Nikki Benz stuff, because contract with for the URL, Brazzers. It's not actually a company. It's a URL.
Yeah, like all of those, and it's like
They're in Canada.
I thought Pornhub puts people through college now.
Do they?
They were giving out I saw something where they were giving out
like checks for home videos or something like that.
No, it was like they had a like a scholarship program or something.
Oh no, I didn't know that.
Yeah.
They're making money hand over fist. So they're trying to do tax write-offs. Is that what you're telling me?
More than likely, that's what it is.
Yeah.
That's exactly what it is.
Because you can have your stuff monetized through Pornhub, right?
Yeah, I think there was someone on my Facebook page that flat out told her she was putting her videos on Pornhub and making money off of them.
Well, see, I know there were other sites like Clips for Sale monetizes, but I know that process you have to actually have the consent of every party involved, every actor involved. And I think you got to have the copy of their ID and signature.
Pornhub doesn't do that, and what they do is they allow. They screw a lot of us, and I have a page on Pornhub that I went on, and I started hunting down stuff that was me, going, that's mine, that's mine, that's mine, that's mine. I mean, I spent a whole day, and I forget what my name is on there. It's like stolen, something like stolen content cunt or something like that. Because all I was doing is going out there and claiming back all of my stolen content. So I'm a cunt, whatever.
Wow, that is crazy. Yeah.
But that's why I have the things, on my Snap, it's public. On my Instagram, it's public. My Twitter, I don't post anything dirty. It's stuff that other people post that's dirty. I don't. So, and they're trying to do their affiliates and all this stuff, which is fine. If I'm like, oh yeah, that was a good one, I might, heart it or something like that. If I know the person, I'll retweet it and I'll be nice. But you got to pay for the extras. And people are like, oh, give me this for free. And I'm like, oh my God, block.
Yeah.
Now deal with it. So, and I've had people get blocked on Snap and then turn around and message me on Instagram and go, I'm sorry. And then I send them a link to my store and I say, this is your asshole fee. If you piss me off enough and you tell me, oh, well, I don't have to pay because I can get you for free, well, then you don't need to talk to me because I charge people to talk to me. So I charge for texting, I charge for phone calls, so you can't get all of that stuff. So I'll just block you, and I charge an asshole fee of $400.
Shiza.
You do not piss me off and get away with it.
Shiza.
You know how to handle assholes.
And I've had people, I never, ever, ever, ever expect anybody to ever pay it. Ever. And I've had 2 guys pay it. And I'm like, wow.
Oh, that's dedication. That is loyalty beyond loyalty.
Yeah. And the apologies that ensued were ridiculous. Like, I'll never do that again. I'm like, you're right, you won't. And from now on, you're going to be monitoring the motherfuckers that are pissing me off. So I give them little jobs and stuff.
Hey, Kente, we got a new person in the chat, though. You going to give a shout out?
Sherelle Icon, I see in the chat. Is that Tiffany?
Oh, yeah. What up, Tip?
Hi, Tiffany.
Yeah, so much for her not using her name.
Oh, my bad. My bad. She was on a couple of weeks ago, Tiffany. So.
Oh, that's funny.
Oh, the T. Oh. See,
I'm gonna need you to bring you back in.
I'm slow. My bad.
You don't need to be slow live. We can do that after when we click off.
Okay, I definitely do that.
That's my co-host, by the way.
I'm cool. Oh, she said she's cool with her government name. So see, I knew that.
Yeah,
I knew that. Kinda. A little bit. All right. Okay. So before we get on out of here, you know, I keep want to go to the people who, they're listening to this show and they've had some, they've wanted to try some things, but they haven't worked it up, the courage. Maybe they have these preconceived notions about what that means, about who they are, and people judging them or whatever crap. So, what would you say to someone who has these desires? They want to, you know, do them or whatever, and they're a little afraid. Is there any resources they can go to that,
Jocelyn,
yes, that might give them some insight on what they may be getting into?
Adult Film Star Network. uh, Sick Addictions with Jocelyn Stone. I'm constantly teaching different things like clearing out the parking spot. It's all about how porn ruined pegging. You
Yeah.
know, there's all kinds of stuff. How you can learn to love yourself and take a Hudsie Hahn class if you happen to be in LA or at any of the Exoticas or DomCons. Those are all conventions, and she teaches Touch on Yourself, which is TOYS, and it teaches you how to do things super cheap, like CBT, cock and ball torture, or cock and ball torment is what it's called. But sometimes, here's the thing.
Anthony said no, thank you.
I'm cool.
But the thing is what people don't realize is like a cock ring. Guys think is totally cool, and it'll slow down the urge to come and all this stuff. And well, you realize that you can do a custom one with some shoelaces. You can wrap it around, start Googling different things, start looking at, hey, Pornhub has got everything, right? Start looking at those things and see what you think is safe, what you think isn't, and then start asking people questions. You can ask online. Hell, I have a phone line where you can pay to call me. You can call me and ask me anything,
Hey,
you know?
if you know me in real life, you should know there's no judgment over here at all whatsoever. So I have a wealth of knowledge of a lot of miscellaneous shit. If I know the answer, I will give it to you freely.
There you go. And also on here, if make comments on this show. You review this show, and if something comes up and you're like, God, I was really curious about this or that, send it to the show, because look at who the fuck got us here. You have a resource.
That's right.
Two of them. If you're scared to tell the guy, tell the girl. You're scared to tell the girl, tell the guy. I don't give a fuck who you tell, but they will reach out to us. So, and there you go. And if I don't have an answer for something, I will find somebody who can give you answers.
Right.
Well, Tiffany said in the chat room, she said, I think I will ask Anthony some private questions.
There you go.
I know what you doing, Shannon. I know what you up to.
Look, if y'all paid attention to me on the podcast, y'all already know who I am. So I'm just saying. Look, anyone?
Hilarious. So Anthony, man, give a dude some advice, man. Like, I want to try some shit. Anthony, what give me a resource. What should I do? Should I look at porn? Should I go to kinky.com? What's the deal?
I would say if you look at porn, let porn just be the seed that's planted. Don't try to emulate exactly what it is you see, because you'll fuck around and hurt yourself or somebody else. That's one thing. Because more often than not, especially these are professionals who are they know exactly what to do. And even though it seems like he pounded shit out her asshole, there is preparation that goes into it and is involved that allows her to be able to receive that level of punishment and him to give it. Again, it's a lot of research stuff. I think what I started out with in like high school was like Kama Sutra books. And I think from there I went to like tantric sex and understanding those types of things, and then all of the sensual, sexual R&B type shit that I was accustomed to, the crooners and like the Joes, or I'll make love to you all night long. Now, how realistic is that? And then also understanding that, yeah, there's not a lot of women want to have sex all night long in real life. Like that's a long time for not. Now, without breaks, because I think the longest time I've ever had sex was like 6 hours.
See, I love the roller coaster ride, but seriously,
Yeah.
I have these guys tell me, oh, I want to lick your pussy all night. I'm like, dude, if you like a fucking heel to the forehead, go ahead and try. I will
But as a
hurt you.
I would say find the most open-minded woman that you may know, and then start asking her questions, because you'll run into a lot of guys hide a lot of shit. I mean, you gotta hide behind machismo and pride and all those other type of shit like that. So somebody like a Jocelyn, that you feel like, I got these questions, I'm really just want to let me be vulnerable with you right now. I'm curious as to, I want to try this, or and to be honest with you, a lot of things in my life that I've been exposed to or like have witnessed has been due to law of attraction. I've willed a lot of things into my general vicinity to where I've had access to different shit like that. To where, randomly being invited to porn parties. Oh, bring your favorite porn and we're just going to sit down in my dorm room and watch porn. Or
that's an orgy waiting to happen.
Yeah. And I was minding my business, walking through a college, Clayton State college, like dorms or whatever, minding my business. And 4 young ladies were like, hey, you want to come to a porn party? Well, first go down and see if you're cute. They sent 2 down there. Oh yeah, he's cute. Oh yeah. Well, come tomorrow, give me your number and bring your favorite porn.
Okay.
So that I have a lot of the things like law of attraction. If it's something that you really want to do and it's something that you're thinking on and you're researching, it'll come to you without you having to really do a lot of seeking and searching and putting yourself out there.
Don't force it. Don't force it. Learn about it. Talk about it. And you know what? Don't be freaked out if, oh, I told so-and-so and he told this person and that person. Finn was talking about licking pussy. You know what? If you got to take a few verbal jabs, you know what? That's okay.
Oh, it didn't stop me from eating pussy. It didn't stop me at all.
Well, good man. Good man. Oh, but you know what? If you're into some different type of shit, FetLife is a good site to have. It's a free profile that you can go to.
Good conversation. That's for sure.
Yeah, really good conversations.
And you can they have different categories. You don't necessarily have to pick a category, but they have the different categories of the acronyms, and then you can take those and then research from that point. What is this? What is a sub? What is a dom? What is a slave? What is
FetLife, right?
Yeah, I haven't used my.
I
haven't logged in I don't know, probably a couple years, but I do have a FetLife profile.
Interesting guys from Key West, and I'm just like, please don't see me out in public.
Oh, they know now. They know now. You're gonna get stalked.
Let me ask Finn a question. So you've been on this panel tonight, and have you learned a lot?
Oh, definitely. I learned a lot.
Have you opened your mind to possibilities that lay out there?
I don't know about that. Because I think I'm pretty open already. I can't see anything sway me to do anything different other than what I like so far. Just because I think I'm pretty open. Like I said, obviously not as open as Jocelyn, but that's a whole other story. But no, I think but the information, I knew about cleaning the parking spot or the garage, as she called it, was up on that. So, but it was still very informative.
All right. He's our test audience right there. All right. I want to thank the panel. You guys were amazing. It was such a really good show. I want to thank everybody who's listening, who was listening, and who is listening. You guys were amazing. Of course, we always like to start off with our lady panelists. So, Jocelyn, how can people get you in social media? Tell us about your podcast, your website. Once again, how can we get your content? And are you doing any live appearances?
I am live appearances. Everything you can find at jocelynstone.com is JOCLYNSTONE. And it doesn't have the triple X behind it, although I do own that one. But everything is at jocelynstone.com. And I do all kinds of different things. My biggest thing is because of people that are curious and they don't know how to start doing something, or they're embarrassed to ask something. I started Sick Addictions with Jocelyn Stone. Rebecca Love is my co-host. And she's a vanilla cupcake, and she knows when to slow me down and go, what the hell does CBT mean? You know, why are you saying it like that? So, like, I know what the fuck you're talking about. So, we're on iTunes, Google Play, TuneIn, Stitcher, all of them. I mean, we're on a laundry list of them, where she just realized that we're on one of them that she didn't even know we were on. So she's like, we were on iHeartRadio. So I mean, we're killing it with the fetish stuff, and then she does her vanilla adult industry stuff. Also, how to make money on the side with Snapchat and Instagram and stuff like that. So check my calendar. It's on jocelynstone.com. If you want to find me on Facebook or any of those other social media, all you have to do is type in my name. Just spell it correctly. I never change my name. I've never changed my name. I won't be changing my name. And as long as you spell it correctly, that's what I have on everything. Ta-da.
Thank you. You know, I have to thank you so much, Jocelyn Stone. This is our third time with Jocelyn, and it's been a couple of years since the last time we had her on, and she's always amazing, and she's so giving to her fans. And every time when she's done interviews with us, and I've heard interviews with her, you are so good with your public, and I like to thank you so much for coming on the show. And at some point, we got to get you and Rebecca on at some point. That'll
yes. We do a part 2.
Yes, definitely. That'd be awesome. I have to get you.
Well, maybe some live demonstrations.
Movie queen. So you get her. Oh my goodness. Yeah. Get these boys staring at her.
I think we need to fly Shannon out to Vegas, and the two of you kind of get on cam together and show us some stuff.
Then come out for karaoke triple X. That's one of the things that Rebecca and I do together. We do it the second Monday of every month, and it is a hub where any fans can show up and meet whatever stars end up being there, and they could be fetish, they could be producers, they could be porn stars. In November, Claudia Marie is going to be our guest hostess. And her and her ginormous boobs.
Right.
And she is, we're doing it as a prom, where the whole theme is prom night. And then I spoke with Pink Box Donuts, the owner, and he's going to sponsor. So we're going to have little donuts and stuff too. So it's going to be great.
And when is this?
It's the one in November. So the second Monday of November is when we're having it. There's no cover charge. You have to be over 21 because it's a bar, and you don't have to sing karaoke. Just do your thing. Hey, Rebecca loved Claudia Marie. I just saw ding ding.
Okay.
I just want to be able to say I know Jocelyn Stone when I come in. That's all. I don't want to be some fake. I say no, I know her. I know her.
Yes.
You just gotta look. Where is she? I'll be there. I always show up, and I'm usually in the most elaborate outfits. I mean, I dressed as a Snow White for Disney night. Rebecca chooses the themes. I dressed as Snow White, and when I stopped to get a pack of cigarettes at the AMPM around the corner from my house, everybody that worked there was coming out and taking pictures so they could show their kids that Snow White came into mommy's work, daddy's work. So that was a huge compliment that I nailed it.
They had no idea what was going to happen to Snow White later on that night, though.
Oh, they didn't know what Snow White had done right before, because I did a Snap Premium and I was wearing a lace body stocking that was crotchless. And then I put for when I got dressed and I left, I put on a pair of like boy shorts over it, and it said "bitch" across my ass. And oh yeah, it was hilarious. I also do Queen of Hearts, but then again, yeah, off with your heads, get it, huh?
Right.
I got it.
Yes. Yes. All right. So, Finn, how can people get you in social? Oh, make sure you follow her on Instagram. Her Instagram is awesome, by the way. So, Finn, how can people get you in social media? Tell us about your radio website and when are you DJing next?
I'm DJing sometime this week. I'm not sure. Tata's gonna kill me for that. But you can catch me easiest on my Facebook page, Christian Wren, ChristianRenn. I'm always on there, pretty much throughout the day, talking a bunch of shit. The radio station is uglyradio.com. You can always check us out there. Live music 24/7. That's typically where I DJ. Again, I think I'm DJing sometime this week, maybe Friday.
Now, how do you spell ugly different?
Yeah, I should say that. It's UGLEE. So UGLEE I'm sorry, UGLEE radio.com.
All right. And also now, Anthony, how can people get you in social media as well as your and tell us about you're a filmmaker as well. Do you have any projects that's coming out?
I am making my resurgence back into the film industry. So that's adult and I guess commercial, industry as well. So right now, social media. Pardon me, I got hair in my mouth.
You do.
It's so fitting for this show.
Right. Social media at Free For Real. That's FREEPHAREAL. You won't find any of this conversation or content on those sites. So if you want to talk to me, I may actually end up having to create a different profile just for this particular these particular topics, because I love talking about them and it's a part of my life. And
sometimes you have to separate them, though.
I do have to separate them. I just like to know things, and I like to be able to tell people what I know. Outside of that, my film projects, I've got a short film that I'm working on. I've had a short film that's featured on HBO, and I've had the likes of Dick Gregory and Jasmine Guy and Crystal Fox and a couple other people in there. That was actually my first short film ever filmed, so that was pretty great. But I'm currently writing for some new material for a couple short films. I'm looking at a couple documentaries to film, and once I get my cameras again, then I'll be kind of hitting the streets or the sheets, depending on what comes in front of my camera first. But I'm also a photographer too, so I've done nude photography and kind of that, whether it be fetish photography or stuff like that. So I've been a photographer since I was 15. I'm 35. I've been a photographer for like 20 years. So
I'll be doing a short film with Shannon. It'll be about 6 minutes long.
Man, listen. How you playing?
It's untitled thus far.
Okay.
How you playing though? Why?
Let me ask you this, Anthony. When you send out a word that you have a premiere, do people be like, wait a minute, what kind of film is this?
No, to be completely honest, anybody that has been invited to this may be finding out a lot of new information about me, because I have kept those parallels. I've kept completely separate.
Absolutely.
And those that, I guess, the different avenue is because I was a singer at one point, so there are people that don't know that I sing. There are people that didn't know that I worked in the film industry. There are definitely people that didn't know I film porn or adult films. So these different, I guess, aspects of my life cater to different or just drawing different type of personalities, and so they fit where they fit. I'm all encompassing of all those things, but yeah, not everybody knows. They don't really cross very much. So
they do now.
Yeah, everybody.
But I also invited specific people too. So everybody didn't get invited here because, again, it might be, people that from the church that I used to go to probably would be, it's probably not the right people to invite to this
I'm like the
particular part.
emoji.
I got a new
You-
church. I got a
Me
new
too.
church. I got a new church for you because one of our regulars, the goddess Charmaine, she does naked church. So
Oh, okay.
you might like. I should have had her on too. Yeah,
Yeah, that would
We
have been
need to
nice.
go to that church.
yeah. So you might
I'm
like.
down.
I wonder what the choir's like though.
I do.
I
I bet
want,
they hit a lot of high notes.
Jeez.
and I'm not exaggerating either, by the way.
We know you not.
I wanna before we have Shannon give her information, I want everybody. This is Shannon's first season on Men and Women Talk to Mars Venus show, and this is her 8th episode, 7th as a co-host. And Shannon's just been an amazing co-host, and I wanted to, take a moment to, spotlight that, and how much I'm very happy that we were put together, and she was a guest first, and then she came on as a co-host, and she's an amazing co-host. She does an amazing job, and I want to make sure that I put that out there in the universe. So
Oh, thank
That's
you.
awesome. That's awesome.
she's
She's amazing. You have no idea. Yay!
and it's funny too because after when I met her, and we started talking, it felt like we had known each other for a long time. So,
I thought you guys had done way more than 8 shows together. The chemistry
It's
is awesome.
funny. It's funny because when we had that conversation in between the Black and Nerdy podcast and us starting this segment together, that conversation that we first had, we was on the phone for like 6 hours, just hashing out everything about relationships, talking about Black men and Black women, and the ins and outs. And I mean, it was so fluent. It was fluid. And I mean, it wasn't rushed or hurried. It just was. It was magical. It was like we could actually relate on so many different levels. And so when you asked, I was like, hell yeah. Well, I mean, it's past my bedtime, but
she actually goes to sleep at 6.
I go to bed at 8. Don't be disrespectful. I go to the gym at 3:30. Okay.
What is a bedtime?
I know, right? But but
I
so
have
and I appreciate her, and thank you to Imani for making the connection. And Imani, right? Anthony. So Imani, who was here earlier, she's an amazing person, and thanks. So tell us, Shannon, how can we get you on social media? Tell us about your website and tell us about your books.
I don't have a website yet, unless somebody wants to develop it for me. Everything is my name, Shannon Ford Jefferson. And I say this all the time, so everyone will eventually get it. I'm the only Shannon Ford Jefferson in the world. You can Google me. I'm the only one that comes up. Don't do Shannon Ford. Don't do Shannon Jefferson. There are a gazillion Shannon Fords. But Shannon Ford -Jefferson, like the presidents, and you'll find me. I'm always on Facebook. I just got back onto Twitter. And I'm on Instagram. And that's it. And then books, I have 5 books. They're all poetry. You can find them all on Amazon.com. And I'm currently working on my 6th book. Y'all say a prayer for me. It's really hard. I'm really being vulnerable this time around. So, yeah. That's it. That's my life.
That's awesome.
That's super awesome. Wow.
Super duper. All right, so you can get me at Kente F. That's KINTEF on Twitter. You can get me on Instagram at Kente, my full name, Kente Ferguson. That's KINTEFERGERSON. That's on Instagram. And you can go to our website. That is indyradio.org. That's INDY. radio.org. We will be back next week. Tentatively scheduled. I haven't done any booking yet, so I might have to reach out to Finn to help me out with this.
I'm always down.
What's the topic again?
Not just to be on the show, but it's the follow up to our virtual hookup show. So,
okay.
So I know you like Finn knows everybody, so I might have to reach out to him about
Oh, definitely.
Yeah, so but that's gonna be next week. And so Halloween's coming up, and
it's Wednesday.
That's right. So Halloween's coming up. So you guys who are going out there trick or treating, taking your kids trick or treating, or just handing out candy, you guys go out, have fun, have a great time, and God bless you guys. And we'll catch you next time right here on indieradio.org. Peace.